welcome to another Workshop Wednesday brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com, where it's casual conversations for serious workflows. And here we are with, where's my name? How are people going to know who I am? What happened there?
I don't know. I don't see my name popping up either.
Yeah,
what did you do, Dan?
What? What? What happened? Well, I'm Dan DeLong.
And I'm Rachel Douchy.
I don't know what happened there. Okay, so
what
now
did you do? It must be all your fault.
You didn't go into Do Not Disturb because I heard the ding.
Oh, shoot. Let me do that right now. But, I did put my name in. It prompted me to type it in.
Yeah, mine did too. There's technology updates. So,
yeah.
So we've been on a sabbatical hiatus for a couple weeks. And
and you have something new.
Besides my goatee.
A serious goatee for serious workflows.
That's right. It probably won't last long because it's getting annoying, but it was a nice try, right? So yeah, maybe that's the topic that we should have in the chat. Should Dan keep his goatee?
Let's do a poll.
I already know your vote. No, forget it. But we have a couple of announcements that we want to share, and then we'll jump in today's topic, which is all about making mass edits in QuickBooks Online with Spreadsheet Sync.
Yes. I love every topic.
That's right. Now, if we could make mass edits with Spreadsheet Sync and PayPal, man, you would just be over the moon.
I know.
Jamie says keep it. So
she likes it.
One vote for, one vote against. So a couple announcements. There's been some changes with the QuickBooks Solution Provider Program and those types of things. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about addressing some of those changes. And we kind of had a soft launch with this program. We're trying to test it out with School of Bookkeeping. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to bundle QuickBooks Online subscriptions with School of Bookkeeping, right? So it's kind of like a companion to your QuickBooks Online. And one of the things about Simple Start is that's kind of getting, I don't know, the redheaded stepchild treatment with, we're not quite sure, sometimes you go to QuickBooks' website and you see Simple Start's not even there.
Yeah.
They're doing like A/B testing, to see, maybe Essentials might be the baseline version of QuickBooks Online. And there's some reasons, right, for Simple Start, for a company that's very simple, as the name
they want to start,
or they're starting, right? Those two words could essentially make it necessary, but there's some things that go along with that, especially in the accountants, right? If you're creating a Simple Start company for your client, there's only one user. If you log in first, that can pose a bit of a challenge when it comes to making your client or granting your client access to Simple Start. So we have an option here at School of Bookkeeping where you can bundle QuickBooks Online with School of Bookkeeping, kind of like a 2-for-1 type of thing, because we all like BOGOs, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have where is it? There. So there's a QR code here for 2-for-1. You can take to our website where you can see how you can bundle a QuickBooks Online subscription with your School of Bookkeeping. So you kind of get that 2-for-1. Basically, you're paying the same price that you would through QuickBooks directly, but you are actually getting the online tutorials and the services that School of Bookkeeping can offer as part of that. Now, if you're an accounting professional and you want to do this for your clients, you can sign up as an affiliate of School of Bookkeeping and earn a commission for active subscription. So that's another way of including your revenue stream or increasing your revenue stream. as an accounting professional. It's not just Simple Start; it's also advanced, right? So if you have a client with advanced, you can bundle in the elite membership of School of Bookkeeping, get the quick answers, and you and your team love quick answers, right?
Yeah,
Rachel.
love it. I've learned so much from quick answers that I don't need to use it anymore. No, I'm just
There
kidding.
you go.
But one thing I was going to say, though, is Simple Start is actually really great. Sometimes people don't need all the bells and whistles.
Right.
And a lot of times, like for our clients, we're doing a lot of stuff outside of QuickBooks, and Simple Start is perfect. So we do stuff outside of QuickBooks, dump it right in, and it's great. We have several clients that are in that situation.
And this is a little bit different than the wholesale billing or the Pro Advisor preferred pricing, I think is now what Intuit is calling it, where you typically have to have it under your QBOA and you're the accountant. By doing it this way, we're just managing the billing, and we're not even a user inside of your QuickBooks online.
Yeah, because I think you said if, like, say, for instance, we're affiliated with a QSP, it doesn't, Simple Start doesn't count, right? Yeah. So this would be a way to get some kickback for that.
Exactly. Yeah, they've removed any kind of referral or bounty out of the QuickBooks Solution Provider channel. So this is a way to do kind of both, right? So, and there's no additional cost to you or your client because it's just the same bundled price, right? So we just do it that way. So that's that. And if you wanted to, I'm going to put the QR code in the upper right if you wanted to set up a free trial for School of Bookkeeping, because what we're going to be talking about today is in our course catalog of the QuickBooks Online Advanced module that we have, where we have a sub-module of Spreadsheet Sync. We've tried to curate all of the resources that are out there for Spreadsheet Sync and put them in one place. But if you want to be able to see said module, you need to be a member of School of Bookkeeping in order to do that. Right? So you can check it out, do a trial if you want, and we'll have all these resources here that we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Here we go. Yeah, so here's our module of Spreadsheet Sync already there in the QuickBooks Online Advanced module, and it's got all the things that we want to do as far as getting started, how to any kind of FAQs or troubleshooting. It's all right there, so you don't have to go scouring the internet. We've done it for you. So. And we've talked about Spreadsheet Sync before in our workshop listings. You can go and check out those workshops as well. But a couple quick answers came in, and we wanted to talk about kind of a unique use case for Spreadsheet Sync, and that's one of the advantages, I think, of Spreadsheet Sync, is that not only does it allow you to modify transactions in bulk, it also allows you to modify list elements. So we had a couple people come in and say, "Hey, it's the end of the year. The CPA said they're tracking inventory and they don't need to be, right? So we've got all of these inventory items and we want to turn them into non-inventory items." So that we can ring up sales, but not account for them as inventory. We're just gonna manage these processes outside of this whole thing. So how do I change all of my inventory items into non-inventory items? Well, that's a painstaking process because the way inventory is running inside of QuickBooks, you can't just turn an item into a non-inventory part. All right.
You cannot.
So it's one of those thou shalt not do. It's the 11th commandment. You can, it's a one-way ticket to inventory. You can turn something into an inventory item, but you can't turn it back, right?
And also I'm okay, never mind. I was just going to say, sometimes I also question, like when CPAs tell people they don't need to have inventory on in QBO because they are trying to help them simplify. But sometimes I question that, but that's okay.
All right. So I've already established and created a connection. This is my Excel here.
Wait a second. I got to put on my glasses. I can't see anything.
Oh, I've got the I can zoom in here. So, well, I can't zoom in on this side, but here we go.
Oh, and I just made my screen bigger too. So, okay. I can see now.
Yeah, full screen for today is probably what we'll need here. So it's a sidebar of what I've already connected, prior to this. If you have questions on connecting, you can see those topics in our course
just
library.
Really quick though, one quick question on connecting. Does it only work for Excel or Google Sheets too?
They are connecting to Google Sheets. I haven't played around with that, but I did hear that's an update lately. They'll be able to have this at task pane or something of a connection with Google Sheets as well. Gotcha. But you can only connect it from an advanced company.
Yes.
Right. And once it's connected, if you're an accountant with clients with multiple other flavors, you can use it for reporting purposes on non-advanced clients, but you do need to launch it and initially connect it from an advanced company first. But you can't do this create or edit records, which is what we're going to be talking about here today.
Got it.
All right. So these are the lists that you're able to transactions and lists that you're able to modify, right? So invoices and bills, journal entries, purchase and sales receipts, which I wish they would keep the terminology consistent, but purchase is expenses.
Bills, yeah.
Not bills, because bills are up here.
Oh, sorry. I'm blind. I can't see anything.
Right. Vendors and customers, your chart of accounts, inventory items, which we'll jump into. But even though it says inventory items, that's all your items. So your products and services list. So if you have services, if you have
yeah, you're right. They're not consistent with the terminology. That's right. Really weird.
Time activities, classes.
I have to get my glasses.
I'm struggling. Struggle is real for Rachel. But classes and departments, and the departments is locations. It's just another terminology difference between the two. So locations and class tracking, estimates, employees, and purchase orders. So all of those lists and transactions can be modified or just brought in, right? So that's one option of either syncing information that's already in QuickBooks, or maybe if you have it already in Excel somewhere else and you want to bring in those transactions, you can do that here. Mm-hmm. So we're going to take a look at inventory. And this is where you can have you have this choice of, do I want to add new records to QuickBooks or edit records and sync back? So we're just going to talk about this use case, right? Of I want to change all of my inventory items to non-inventory items. Well, first, but the caveat to all of that is I want to use the same item name, right? So rather than creating a whole slew of new items that are different names, which would be a disruption to the workflows that are already set up of, hey, if I want to create an invoice or a sales receipt or a bill, I usually have this item number that I look things up. I want to use the same item name or number to do that, right? So I'm going to hit get template, and what it's doing is it's going out into my QuickBooks and grabbing my item list, right? So it's tiny, sorry. Let me make this a little bigger.
I can't even see that even with my glasses.
All right, so this is the item list that's in my QuickBooks. So if I go over here, this is.
Do they have a convenience store? I'm saying candy bars, nuts, and T-shirts.
Yeah, this was. I don't know how these items got in here. This was when I worked at Intuit. I think I imported an item list into this shell company
this is
here.
Your test account. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a Three Musketeers king size candy bar, some beach mint gum, and a misspelled peppermint. This is peppermint strawberry. Uh, we won't talk about my spelling. We'll talk about right. So here is all of the fields that you have to work with, right? So this type, and again, terminology difference. So we've got in this drop down, we've got, if I click on it, stock, non-stock, and service items. So, so there's your inventory, non-inventory, and service-based items. So
is this not going to confuse you QuickBooks users and business owners? Like, I can't even understand why they would call this stock, non-stock. I would get confused.
It's yes, it is certainly a challenge.
And is code skew?
What's that?
Is code skew?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
No. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's just stock ad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that would be the SKU number. So let's see if I got anything in here. The nice part about this coming into to Excel is you have the functionalities of Excel, right? So every column is going to have a filter, right? So yes, so there is some numbers in there. So if I remove the blanks and apply that, now I only have all the items here that have a SKU in it.
But to me, this is like they got like some engineering team from Australia to do it.
Yeah.
And like they're using their terminology. Like
yes, and that's the history of Spreadsheet Sync is that they did acquire a company
that makes perfect sense.
that had that, and they were not from the US, so they had some US non-US terminologies that made
it looks foreign.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just, you get what I'm saying.
Exactly. So let's use this use case of, hey, we're gonna change. First we're gonna change the names.
Oh, they have biatchment.
That's watermelon.
I'm sorry.
Here we have a watermelon.
Yeah, and a sweetment. I'm glad you've got sweetment.
Not talk about the, but this is how you could clean this up too.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good.
All right. So first thing we want to do is we want to get all of the names of the inventory items out of the way, right? So easiest way to do that is by adding a 1 to the name of the item. So first we're going to do is filter our item list here for just the inventory items, because we don't want to deal with anything that's not a non-inventory item. So everything here says stock. So at least now that we know stock means inventory, we have, I guess I just use Excel. There is 229 items here that we're working with.
Okay.
Right. So the first thing I want to do is copy the name column, and I'm going to create a new sheet, which is a sheet already here. And I'm just going to paste that name column in here. Get rid of this guy. And get rid of this guy. All right, and I'm just going to call this, let's make the column wide enough, and we'll call this new name. And the easiest way to add a 1 is just do this and use the ampersand 1. All right, so now it's taken that name and just added a 1 at the end of it. Copy this down. There we go. All of those names are now added and appended with a 1.
Cool.
So now, great. Control Shift down. All right, I've selected them all. I'll copy this. Go back to my template. And let's make this wide enough so we can see the magic. Oh, darn it. Undo. We got to paste values.
Values, yeah.
There you go. So pasting values. So now all of our names
have the 1.
Have the 1 in it. So then in order to post and synchronize things back to QuickBooks here, we have to just change this post column to yes. Let's make sure I'm at the top. If I can get it. Come on now.
Oh.
Get away.
Well, maybe it's because you're hiding some things. You have some rows hidden. Maybe it won't do it.
Let's see here. It's probably a view issue. It's just there.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So make that yes. I'll make this bigger so everybody can see. And then using my keen mouse techniques, you hover over the corner, it turns into that little plus sign. I can just double click on it. Now all my yeses are copied down to the bottom. There we go, all of our items. And then I just click this sync to QuickBooks and wait. It's going through and modifying those item names to add the 1 on it. I don't know what happened to X. X didn't get a 1, or these last 3. I don't know why. Any hoodles. So we got name supplied already exists. So one item didn't sync back because it already had a 1 on it. Because I was testing this beforehand, so it was probably a straggler. Right. So looking at my item list, oh no, it didn't modify anything. However,
did you refresh?
I have to refresh, right? So I'm going to just choose all inventory, which should redo everything. Now all of my items have a 1 on it, right? So
I did quiet mode.
Your daughter's on bypass, right? So
oh my goodness.
You let your family come through. All right. So if I wanted to, create these new items as non-inventory items, so let's copy these names back. We'll put them back in here. Let's make it a non-stock item. No, I don't know. I didn't play with it. Whoops. I didn't. All right, I can't click and. Oh, I did service. Darn it. Non-stock. There we go. So these are non-stock items. Now, I'm not sure about this part of things. With the inventory asset being selected in here, we might need to blank it out or things like that. But let's sync it back and see if it creates these items as non-inventory items.
But question.
Yep.
Don't they need to be 0?
It shouldn't need to be, because it should create those. This is my theory. It shouldn't need to be, because it will create those items as non-inventory parts, which it didn't like that.
But wouldn't you think that they still need to be zeroed out because there's a value in inventory?
It's doing this. It errored out on every item.
Yeah.
Because these items have a link back to it. Mm-hmm. So you would, in this case, you would hit done and clear it out. Maybe copy these this sheet for purposes of copying them back in, and then instead of syncing, right, you would go back to home and then clear the data and go into your inventory items with a add new, right? So you would just be adding new, bringing in those items column by column, whatever it is that you want to do.
So you're just basically copying them, bringing them in, and then you're going to then get. I don't see how you're bypassing the zeroing out the quantity.
You're creating brand new items, all brand new.
To zero out and delete the old?
Well, zeroing out that's another thing, right? So you're zeroing it out. You're going to zero out the quantities by doing a quantity adjustment in here.
Yeah.
but that's zeroing it out. But just to zero out your inventory, that's a QuickBooks thing, right? So this is what this is doing is allowing you to move the item name out of the way so that you can bring in and create new items
Okay,
from.
I gotcha.
Right?
It's kind of a different thing I'm asking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
But zeroing it out, if you wanted to zero it out, you certainly could, but you would do it that way. So back to Spreadsheet Sync. Let me go home here. So let's go through some of the things that you can and can't do with regards to other lists. So vendors and customers. We were talking about this right before. You might get excited when you see your customers. Where are they? Oh, is it still thinking?
Hmm.
Where are my customers? Let me try that again. That was I look away for a second. All right. Add new records. Oh, I didn't choose that. That's
Oh, and not edit.
Yeah. So in your customer list, you see this.
Yeah, make that bigger because I want to see if it has the parent that I was talking about when you exported it.
So this list type here, where you see this customer project, people get excited when they see, oh, well, I could just turn this guy into a project. No.
It doesn't work. Yeah, I've tried.
If I try to say yes and sync it back, it will give an error saying, oh, no, you can't.
Well, I also have to
support.
I have to tell you, I like how this export customers, because I was talking about before when we were talking about this, is that if you go to just export into Excel, like using the export tool, and you download and you export customers out of Excel, it gives you this list, but you don't have list type, customer project, customer project, customer project. It all says customer. Even the projects, it says customer. And the only way you know it's a project is if there's something in the parent column that says what the actual project name is.
Right here.
Then you know that that's actually a project. It's very cryptic.
Yeah, you've got a column here for parent customer.
Yeah, and that's how you know that the thing is a project. In here, if you go back to the left, you can see in that column list type, it says if it's a customer or if it's a project, which is crystal clear. But when you use that export tool, it doesn't differentiate. It's all customer. It's confusing.
Yeah. So here's the columns that you do have. You have the list type, the display name, title, and then just some of the general information about the customer or the vendor. That's one thing to keep in mind, though, is that when you do this, even though it says customer templates, your vendors are part of this too. So you've got your list type here. You've got vendors as well. I don't know why you would have blanks, but that's another story. So if I just wanted to look at my vendors, there's all the vendors that I have in that company. And then, so you have some general information about them with notes, tax identifier, VAT tax, telephone number. It's clearly it was outside of the U.S. with the VAT number.
I love your fake addresses.
Blawway. Yep. Right. So that's one thing that it won't do is it won't for customers, it won't support shipping addresses. Right. So it's only got one place for one address, and that's it. Go down here and we'll go home. Whoops. Look at that. So you can do that with employees, right? So if I've got employees, hopefully I got a few in there. 2. Right. So there's your things that you can do inside of there. So, it doesn't have all of that, so that the only thing I think extra is that hire date and release date, date of birth, right? So those are fields that are specific to employees, but you're not going to see like social security numbers or pay information or those types of things to modify that and synchronize that back and forth. The advantage of Spreadsheet Sync, right, is because it's an Intuit product, right? They're going to have potentially a leg up on some of the things that they're going to allow for an application to integrate back and forth into QuickBooks. So other third-party applications like Sassant or Sassant, whatever the pronunciation is,
Stazant.
or
I've heard it all.
transaction program border.
There's other ones too. There's other that I work with that
or
are cool.
all of those guys have to play by the API rules.
Yeah.
So custom fields and those types of things are relegated for maybe you can't touch them.
And the one thing that's
box.
cool, even with a product that syncs like this, is that you no longer, and we've all done this, you no longer have to do things one by one by one by one by one. Yeah. I think we all can say that's a pain. It takes time, and it's annoying.
Yeah, that was always a big thing. Like one of the things that I really liked about desktop is there's an option in there in QuickBooks Desktop called Add, Edit Multiple List Items, and for customers and vendors and in items, you can do a lot of batch editing. So as an example, if you wanted to change the revenue account of multiple items instead of one at a time,
yes,
you could go in there and change that in bulk. And when I first saw Spreadsheet Sync, I'm like, finally,
yes.
this is an option that can do that. And other applications do allow you to do that, right? So you can do some live editing where you sync it out from QuickBooks, make your changes, and then push it back in. The advantage, I guess, of the Spreadsheet Sync is because it's under the Intuit umbrella.
Yeah,
they might start to allow it to do things that other applications can't.
Yes.
But the caveat comes, you got to be on QuickBooks Online Advanced to do that. So for all of your clients that are in Plus and Simple Start and Essentials, well, they're SOL when it comes to being able to do that outside of QuickBooks, and then you have to look at something else that might be able to do that. But this is a nice way, because it's already bundled in, to check it out. But just keeping in mind that it's not the messiah of changing batch editing and multiple.
Yeah, I would say like my vote would be one of the first things they add is being able to add projects and change customers to projects, or change historical invoices to the project.
If anyone is going to be able to do it, it's going to be Spreadsheet Sync first, because they have that inside option to be able to do that, and they may be able to kind of give an exception to that.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that, when you're in the fold of an Intuit suite of services, you tend to get a little bit more integration than you do when you kind of piece things together with other
that's
options.
Really good insight. Yeah, you'd know.
When you get like when you have QBO payroll inside of your QuickBooks, then you have a lot more deeper integration than if you're using Gusto, for example, right? So the way those transactions come over, the reports that you can run, the things like that. QuickBooks Payments is another example of things that it can do that others can't, or you have to build automations to be able to simulate that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we want to talk about here today with the Spreadsheet Sync. In the comments, if you're watching this later, what would be a use case that you could see for Spreadsheet Sync? And
I'd like to know what anybody else might want to do, because man, I love this type of syncing tool.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop my sharing here. And of course, we get huge. Why does it? Oh, no. Okay. I'm always clicking the wrong buttons here. Trying to just, it does that all the time. Every time I stop sharing, whoever is first on the list becomes huge. And then I have to try to figure out how to get us on the same level. Any closing thoughts, Rachel?
No, I love it. And it's anybody that has QBO accountant, not QBOA
Right.
advanced. I love that those are both QBOA. But if you have QBOA accountant, you have QBOA advanced. So
Right.
I mean, try using it and get familiar with it. And I know I'm one of those people that I've been using an external tool, but I definitely want to try using Spreadsheet Sync more. I really do.
Yeah, I always try it first and then am sorely disappointed and then end up going to another tool. But when it does have its specific uses and it does work pretty well, it's a great tool to utilize when it fits the bill, right? And the promise of Spreadsheet Sync is that it could potentially do more than other tools that allow it to do. But sometimes it's this is one of those things where sometimes they got to catch up. They got to catch up to the norm before sprinting past them. And I think this will potentially be that.
Yeah, and I'm sure they probably depend on collaboration with a lot of us accountants to kind of see like what might be needed and what's the best way to use it. What do you need the most and things like that. I'm kind of like wanting to convert everything to projects because I think the most powerful thing about QBO, as Hector Garcia always says, is the bank feeds. It is the most powerful thing. And so I want to be able to assign everything to a project out of the bank feed. Like, and with my firm, with a lot of my clients, we're transitioning them to that too. So we can provide job costing and that kind of thing. So I'm really into it.
All right. So next week, we're actually going to talk a little bit about desktop because there are some newish features inside of QuickBooks Desktop that we want to talk about. And one of them you're going to love, the inventory turnover report.
Oh.
So if we could do inventory turnover with mass editing and PayPal,
fun fact,
your head would explode.
Yes. So my semester, term, we call them terms, starts today. And one of my classes is advanced reporting. So and they don't teach us in QuickBooks. They teach us in Excel. Like, here's how to do everything the long way, the slow, old-fashioned way in Excel. So this is perfect because I can kind of take some of this learning and kind of tweak it so I can maybe do it inside QuickBooks.
There we go. All right. So we'll see you next time on the Workshop Wednesday, and we hope everyone has a great day.